Hi everybody, welcome to the last lecture for Gender and Women's Studies 2100, constructions of masculinity and femininity, or it could be the opposite way in the schedule, I can't remember. First, I just want to tell you guys how wonderful you've been as a class and how much I appreciate your work and your willingness to work through truly some difficult material. This is upper level college material. It's a 2000 level class, and the reading has been difficult, and everybody hung in there and produced some really good work. I've been very impressed by some of the projects and just by the generosity of spirit that I see in the discussion boards and an overall good vibe and community. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Today I just want to wrap up kind of generally. I was thinking, should I go over this chapter 8 in for her own good or do a close reading? And I thought I'd rather just give a broad kind of, so what was that? What did we just do? If we had to if I had to sum up for you what I hope you take away from the class. And if I had to say that in a sentence, I guess I would hope that you take away from the class an unwillingness to accept what you see at face value in human behavior. An unwillingness to accept human behavior at face value. A phrase that I detest. It is what it is. It is what it is. That means nothing. It is not what it is. There's always some kind of hidden economy, or often hidden economy of meaning going on. So if you can refuse to accept human behavior at the surface level and never say it is what it is, you will have done well in this class. So in a longer way, I would say one thing that I hope that you take away from this class is that gender is a practice. Gender is performative. Gender is constituted by things that we do and say, how we think, real activities in our daily life. That's how we become a man or a woman, a gendered person. It is separate from biological sex, and there's not necessarily, that we know of, there's not necessarily a connection between biological sex, having all female chromosomes and a vagina and breasts, and femininity. That there's not a physical connection between those two things. One is a cultural construct and one is raw material, so to speak. Now, I am going to pause here and say I'm a believer in this theory, the cultural construction theory. But I have friends who are feminist scholars, who are biologists, who will disagree, who say that biology is everything, the body is everything, tangible matter, practical stuff is everything. For example, some neuroscientists now say the white light that you see when you head to heaven is actually the brain kind of separating from itself or something. There's a neurological explanation for people's out-of-body spiritual experiences. So, I don't know. But I do know, and that biology, I think, has to be something. And it has to play a piece. Because if we just say that gender and femininity, and this is 100% culturally constructed and completely removed from biological sex, I get nervous anytime you say, it's all this, it's all cultural. Really, I'm not sure, but I am sure that we don't know the connection, the depth and extent of the connection between biological sex and gender. I can tell you the first time that this changed for me, I was 100% in the cultural camp. Then, unbeknownst to me, I was pregnant. I hadn't been trying to have a baby, but I was pregnant, and I didn't know it. And I was so transformed psychologically. This is going to sound really weird. I just wanted to, have a family. All of a sudden, the only thing I could think about was getting married, being with this man I loved, having a family. I wanted babies. I was overcome with this. And I didn't know that I was pregnant. And it was a wild transformation from the scholar that I had been all in my head. Um, and so there was a physical, biological operative in my psyche, and I felt it. So that's just one supplemental experiment, piece of this. But so I have a hard time believing it's all culture. But I know for a fact we don't know the extent to which biology and gender performance, if there is a link, and I'm going to guess there's some kind of little link, it might be real little, who knows, we don't know. But it's not an organic female sex femininity for sure. So that's something to take away from it. The other thing I hope that you remember is that patriarchy, you should forget the rule of the father, Little House on the Prairie, the king, all that kind of stuff. And instead, patriarchy is an economy. Patriarchy is a way of thinking about the world, about organizing ourselves, about how money and power are distributed. Think white, think men, think heterosexual. That's patriarchy, the economy of power. Not all white straight men fit very prestigiously in that economy of power either. If you're poor, you're boom, way down. But this is what patriarchy is. It's not a concrete men rule the world, but it's a shaping of power around symbol, around wealth, around meaning that has historically been and continues to dominantly be male. So patriarchy is not a bad word. I mean, not an old word. You can use it in a new way. So the other piece that goes along with this is, a lot of the stuff in the class that Buckbinder does that I have been helping you through is very theoretical, very dense and analytic. And, talking about gender as performance. Well, that just sounds all kind of like disembodied in some way and kind of in our heads. But I think that for her own good shows us that these beliefs that we hold about masculinity and femininity shape and are shaped by education, science, religion, philosophy, politics, economics. These concepts do play a part in our daily lives and matter. I mean, think of masculinity and men right now in contemporary culture, where you are, if you were a man who cried openly, who was soft in face and presentation, who preferred pastels, a straight man, let's say, a pacifist perhaps, didn't like sports. Can you see your access to patriarchy, to power, and to camaraderie slipping away? And the other piece of that is, I hate that we think we can sacrifice our men, and women too, but primarily men, to go to war, to kill people, to not have feelings, to not consider initially, right away, when you're a father, are you going to stay home with your baby? Men are denied vast arenas of the human experience, and instead are thrown into some very dangerous arenas like professional sports and the military. Femininity, too, has real repercussions and dangers. Women being, mothers being treated as infants right away comes to mind. But women's bodies being subject to undue medicalization and medical scrutiny, understood as fundamentally flawed. Menopause is seen as a problem to be fixed with pills. Our bodies, pregnancy is a disease condition to be managed. Childbirth is something that now is so expensive and so managed that the female body just falls into this machinery of production. A lot of women's health issues are dismissed, disbelieved, thyroid issues, etc. We have a predominance of women who have eating disorders. There are huge prescriptions for what the appropriate female body can be like. Women are sold, trafficked, raped, women throughout the world, many, if not most, live brutal, difficult lives. So our beliefs about what constitutes a man and what constitutes a woman aren't just interesting ideas to talk about, but they're ideals and beliefs that shape and organize how everyday life happens and have real important power. And so instead of just accepting what you see for what it isn't what it is. And there is more than you see on the surface. Ask questions, um, ask why, who benefits, and what am I not seeing? Those are my three. Why is something happening? Who benefits from it? And what maybe am I missing? So, and you will be able to see, I hope, the world and the people in it a little bit differently. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the class. And I'm going on sabbatical next year, so I won't be around, but tell your friends to take a gender studies class because we have a great woman named Jessica from the U of M who's teaching while I'm gone. So thanks everybody and have an awesome summer. Bye-bye.